begin today's practice lying down. So you don't need anything really. If you like for sitting to support yourself, have a cushion or a block ready. Do you have your blankets ready? It feels like we're moving into Christmas now, well and truly. Maybe there will be some snow in Australia, I don't know. So as it's quite cold, just gather around everything that you need, your socks, your jumpers and a blanket, and finding your way then down onto your backs. So once you're lying down, you can choose to keep your feet on the ground, maybe let the knees fall in like I've just demonstrated, or you can have your legs out long and the legs apart with the toes pointing outwards. You can have a little shimmy into the shoulders to relax them down. Maybe do the same with the pelvis, just a little shimmy, allowing yourself to find a bit of stillness in this pose. I know it's the start of the practice and stillness might not be your utmost desire. See how you go with it. I will give you something to think about while we're resting there. Now, if you don't enjoy either legs out long or feet on the ground, you could also come into Supta Baddha Konasana, where we're touching the soles of the feet together and letting the knees fall out. All of that, of course, while lying down on your back. If you feel you can close the eyes, do so. If you feel that's challenging, it might gradually happen, but in that case, just steadying your gaze somewhere towards the ceiling. When I opened the chakra card deck this morning, which was the one that spoke to me, I tipped the cards out into my hand, and the very bottom card was enough. I didn't need to shuffle. It's something that I've been working with this week, and I will bring it into this practice as well. So, gratitude, the most obvious thing to practice before Christmas. Now, let us enhance that energy a little bit and choosing a Pan Mudra to work with as we touch the tip of the thumb together with the tip of the middle and that of the ring finger at the same time, softly extending through index finger and little finger. And you can then rest the backs of the hands back down onto the floor once you've done so. If the mudra fades because you're relaxing into your hands, that's no problem. But for now, just feeling into the hands. So thumb to middle and ring finger, index and little finger softly extended. This mudra works with the heart energy. It works with compassion and forgiveness as well. And when we allow ourselves to rest there, it nurtures the heart energy, and we are encouraged to practice gratitude. There's a little story that goes along with the gratitude card. The card itself says it's Lucy from Indigo. I am so glad you are in my life. The legend says Lucy's best friend writes a letter to Lucy's unborn child. She does this so that one day the child will understand how extraordinary her mother is. Lucy is a friend from Indigo, someone who always supports, never judges, always sees the good side, whatever the circumstances, and uplifts all those around her. In the letter, her gratitude for Lucy shines through. Gratitude raises our vibration to a higher level. If you are unhappy in any relationship, Lucy reminds you that it is always in your power to change it. There's no mystery to being a good person. Good people just do good things. Who is the person you admire most? Why? And how can you live at that level? So there is an inspiration for expansion. Looking at the people in your life that you are truly grateful for. And what it is that makes you so grateful for their presence in your life. This is usually associated with the qualities. So allow these qualities to sink in as you begin to deepen your breathing. Just deepening the breathing for now, nothing major to change. I'm feeling the touch of the air within the nostrils, and that could be quite strong today with the cooler air moving in and then the warm air moving out of the nostrils. If you had trouble finding someone in your life that you're grateful for, be grateful for this breath as it flows in and out of the nose. If you haven't done so yet, let's introduce the pattern of full yogic breathing from belly to ribs to collarbones and out from belly to ribs to collarbones. Each breath flowing in the same pattern in and out of your nose. And with this pattern, then starting to introduce the core and its release. So on the out breath now, drawing the lower abdomen through the body down towards the tailbone. And when you're breathing in, expanding the belly like a Christmas bauble. And then you're pulling back in through the lower abdomen, switching on pelvic floor, abdominal muscles. And when you inhale, expand the belly again. So staying with that contraction and releasing for a little bit. If you would love to carry the gratitude throughout the class, you can always change your thought slightly. Or maybe here you can be grateful for the inner strength that you have. And the ability to release and relax. Taking 2 more breaths. Then for a moment, releasing the breathing technique and joining in to touch the soles of the feet and let the knees fall out sideways. We will start with the kidney stimulation. For that, we will place the hands or fingers behind the head, or you're interlacing the hands here. Noticing that slightly the elbows are dropping towards the floor, you will lift them slightly. And observe as you do that, the change in your back. So oftentimes it is the lower ribs that are arching away from the ground when the elbows are landing. When we're lifting the elbows slightly, we should be able to get into a neutral spine. Then keep your elbows in this way and lift your head and shoulders. Nothing has changed. You're still looking straight up to the ceiling. The chin is away from the chest and remains there. Now, as you're breathing out, bring your right elbow in the direction of your right knee. Then inhale, come to center. And exhale, repeat that to the other side. So if the lift of head and shoulders is too much for you, you can do the same movement, just sliding along the floor. In that case, I recommend to be on the carpet or whatever surface you've got, so you're sliding nicely. But if you can, keep head and shoulders lifted off the ground and just squeezing down the sides. Going once more into each side. Then come to center. Release your head, release your arms, and then lifting your knees up. As we walk the feet in towards the buttocks, keeping them hip distance apart, feet parallel, knees hip distance as well, and the feet as closely stepping up to the buttocks as is possible. You can keep your arms down by your sides, grounding the palms of the hands into the mat. It looks like a bridge, that's what it's going to be. So let's breathe in, tilt the pelvis, then squeeze the buttocks as you're breathing out, bringing the hips up, inhaling at the top of your bridge, and breathing out to roll down vertebra at a time. Let's do that again, a tilt in the pelvis on the in-breath, squeezing the buttocks muscles on the out-breath to lift into the bridge. Inhale, hold the bridge, and then roll back down on your exhalation. Now repeating that movement just once more, lifting us into the bridge on the out breath, inhaling to hold it, and exhaling to roll down onto the back. Now keeping your hips down, keep your foot stepped in, really start to engage your lower abdomen, stabilizing the back and the pelvis. And then peeling your right foot off the floor, bringing the knee a bit in towards the chest, not too much. Keep the pelvis grounded, tap your toes to the mat. Then lifting the toes again and tapping them down, your out breath. Inhale, lifting the toes. Exhale, have a tap down. Do two more, trying to really be still around your back and pelvis, using the lower abdominal muscles to do so mainly, but of course there's some others involved. You will, after the last one, land the foot again close towards the buttocks. Relax for a moment, maybe even open the arms out. Take a deep breath, maybe have a sigh. Then bring the hands back down by the sides, switch the lower belly muscles back on, and starting to peel the left foot off the ground, bringing the knee lightly in towards the chest, and then a tap down as you breathe out. An in-breath to bring the knee in, and observe yourself. There will be wobbles. Your thought is to minimize them as much as is possible, to have stability around your back and pelvis. Maybe going for two more, breath out for a little tap, breath in to bring it in, and exhale for another tap, and then landing the foot down. Again, keeping the feet quite close towards your buttocks. If you find this was strong enough for you and you would love to continue working with this stability, please do so, or return to it if you like. Otherwise, breathe in, tilt your pelvis again, then squeeze the buttocks and lift your hips for a bridge. Your arms are again down by the sides, the palms into the mat. Now you will start to draw your tailbone in the direction of the backs of your knees. You might experience a fair bit of lengthening here despite the strength that we're getting in. And then from there, lifting just the right foot off the ground. Bring your knee up. Exhaling, tap the toes to the ground. Inhaling up. Exhaling, tap the toes to the ground. Keep your lower abdomen on, stabilizing your bridge. Tap. Bring it in. Tap. Bring it in. Last tap onto the ground. Landing the foot. Lower and round your spine back down onto the mat. Take a breath. You can roll knees and arms open if you like. Then returning to the setup of your bridge. Feet, knees, hip distance, feet close to the buttocks. Arms by the sides, palms down. Inhaling, tilt the pelvis. Squeeze the buttocks as you're lifting your hips up. Find your stability here. Engage the lower abdomen. Lifting your left foot, knee comes in. Breath out for a tap. Breath in for a lift. And again here, try to be as solid as you can. Just a tap of the toes to the ground and back in. 2 more if you can. Once the toes are landing in the second round, plant the foot down, squeeze the hips up, and then roll back down. Vertebra at a time, releasing your spine, your back onto the mat. Let the arms be relaxed. And we will take our right knee from here into the chest. And this time we'll interlace the hands around the shin. So go lower than your knee. If anyhow possible, extend your left leg too. You might want to flex into the left foot so the toes are pointing up and the leg is a little bit aligned. Now let's breathe in. And as you're breathing out, push your chin against the hands, maybe sitting up or lifting the upper body, and then rolling back down onto the ground. When you're breathing out, push the shin into the hands, maybe lifting to sit. The sitting is an optional part, but what will happen on this out breath is you're drawing the abdomen in, pushing the chin into the hand, activating your core completely. Lying down, the knee to the chest, pushing forward, lower belly on, chin into the hands. Let's continue like this. Keeping your straight leg grounded onto the mat, going for 2 more. And still, even if you were sitting up, coming back down onto the mat, give the knee a good squeeze in. Then extend the leg, hands behind, flex the foot and draw the straight leg in towards your body. Very relaxed way, shoulders down, hands wherever they feel comfortable, behind the thigh, behind the calf, or wherever is right for yourself. And just pause and breathe. Left leg can relax if possible. On your next out breath, take your nose up to the knee. Maybe the leg comes in a bit closer. And then release by lowering the upper body, bending the knee, sliding the foot onto the mat. Now, we will change sides. So let's bring the left knee into the chest. If anyhow possible, extend the right leg. Turn the toes up to the ceiling. And as you interlace your hands, you might change the interlace. So opposite finger on top. Hands instead of around the knee are around the shin. That's because we want to sit up with that. So we're inhaling. And on the exhalation, push the chin into the hand, maybe sitting up, and then release back down onto the mat. Lower belly on as you're breathing out. pushing the shin into the hand, maybe rising. Inhaling, lower. Exhaling, push forward, trying to come up. Inhaling, lower. Exhaling, push forward, rising up. Inhaling, lower. Keep going. Don't forget your lower belly muscles. Remind yourself it's not important whether you're actually rising to sit or you are just doing the movement without a particular outcome. One more. And if you didn't use that one to sit up, roll onto your side and come up into sitting. And from sitting, we're moving straight into kneeling on all fours. So let's find ourselves on all fours, knees at about hip distance, hands shoulder distance, and the wrist a bit out from underneath the shoulders towards the front. The head lightly lifted, the lower belly gently switched on, not to the extent that we were using it, just to support the neutral curve of the spine. So that, of course, includes the head. Please don't let the head weigh you down. Keep it lightly lifted. We will start with a fairly simple movement and then extending it. So to begin with, let's extend the right leg back as you breathe in. If you like, this is enough. As you could breathe out and just bring your knee into the chest, your nose to the knee. So if you like to stay with that, do so. We're extending the leg again. You might lift the opposite arm forward. And as you're breathing out, your elbow, knee, and nose together in that case. And inhaling to extend again. And then exhale and curl back in. Keep moving like this for another round. Inhaling, extending. Exhaling, curling in. Now we will change that a little bit. We will still breathe out and curl in. But then we'll bring the hand down, extending the leg back. And we'll keep the elbows neat and close and lower halfway down to the mat. We'll push off the floor, lifting the arm. Inhale. Exhaling, curling in knee, nose, and elbow. Bring the hand down, extend the leg. Inhale. Elbows nice and close, halfway down. Exhale. Come back up, lift your arm if you do so. Elbow, knee, nose together. Hand comes down, extending the leg. And lower on your out-breath. Lifting arm. Breath out to curl it in. Hand down, extend the leg. Half push up. Lifting, lower your knee and stretch back into a child's pose. If you like, you can move through fingers and wrists or just turn the hands and relax the arms and shoulders. And allow yourself to focus more on your breathing again. Doesn't have to be too strong at this stage, but just being aware that the breath is still flowing. We will simply change sides from here, so rising back up onto all fours. Make sure your setup hasn't changed too much or correct it if needed. And then we will start again with the left leg, just one leg as we're extending that back. And then an out breath to bring the knee and nose in. If this is enough, just stay with the leg. Otherwise, extending your right arm forward, thumb facing upwards. And when you're breathing out, bring elbow, knee, and nose together now. Inhaling, extending. Exhaling, curling in. Keep going like this. Inhaling, length. Exhaling, curling in. And from here, we will start to change that. We'll place the hand down, extending the leg. And on the out breath, keep your elbows in, maybe lower down halfway. Lifting again, arm extending, and breath out, curling it all in. Hand down, inhale, lengthen the leg. Exhale, little push up. Inhaling, extending. Exhaling, curling in. Hand down, lengthen the leg. Exhaling, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, extend. Half push up or quarter is good. Last round. Inhale, exhale, curling in. Hand down as you inhale to lengthen. Exhaling, lower. Bring the knees down. Retreat yourself into a soft child's pose, moving what needs moving. Before you come to pause, observing the breath again. Just closing the eyes for a moment in your child's pose. Maybe you notice that the heartbeat was a little bit faster, or the breath. Maybe you also noticed the challenge within this movement. You could be grateful that you can do a challenge, that you've got the ability to extend yourself to whatever extension it took you. Not important. Let's reach the arms forwards and return onto all fours. Now, I will challenge you here a little bit more. If you find this is too much, always bring the hands down or find a way to make it happen for yourself that is safe and within your range of movement. We will start again just lifting the right leg and bringing the knee into the chest without moving the head this time. Now that sounds easy. Let's extend and lift the right arm too. Now bringing elbow and knee together on the right hand side. Bobbles are fine. Inhaling, extend it. Open your body sideways and squeeze your elbow and knee together on top of the body. Then turning downwards. Inhale, elbow and knee together here. Open the body to the side. Inhale, exhale, elbow and knee. Turning down to extend. Inhale, exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale, side body open. Exhale, squeeze it in. Let's see if we can do two more. Inhale, look down. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhaling, open. Exhale, squeezing in. Last round. Inhale, exhale. And one more to the side. Squeeze it in. Now let's land the foot down, land the hand down, release and sink towards the heels again, child's pose. Now let's walk or slide the hands across to the right as far as you can go and surrender here. Breathing or imagining you can breathe all across the left side of your body, expanding where we've just been supporting. Watching the breath slowing down again. And if you had any kind of negative thoughts, maybe for adjusting the movement that I suggested, notice that too. It's kind of the opposite to gratitude. So you might then choose to just be grateful that you are able to practice in whatever form you are. Walking the hands back into the center and returning again onto all fours. Of course, we will repeat here what we've done. Let's begin simple. So you've got somewhere to go back to, the left leg extending your in-breath. And while you keep the head steady, draw the knee into the chest. This is enough. Or as you're extending the leg, extending same side arm forward. And then bringing elbow knee together. For the next one, open the body to the side and then squeezing elbow and knee together on top of you. Turning back down, inhale, elbow, knee maybe a tap to the ground for balance. Inhale, open the body to the side. Exhale, squeeze elbow, knee here. Inhale, turn. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Exhale, above the body. Turning back down. Elbow and knee. Opening to the side. And squeeze above the body. Last round. Inhale, turn. Squeeze. Open. And squeezing again. Then release the foot, the hand, the knees to the ground, sinking towards the heels, sliding your hands all the way to the left-hand side, then coming to rest. Imagining and expanding your breath along the right side of your body. Breathing quite deeply, trying to expand into the ribs, the space in between. As that was plenty of support by arms and knees, let's change that. Extend the arms forward now. Inhale, come onto all fours. Tuck your toes under, one downward facing dog to lift your hips up. I'm aware that now we're just standing still on the hands, but now on our feet. And then starting to walk out the feet in the steadiness of your down dog. Before you start to walk in tiny steps, the feet forward towards the front end of the mat. Rise here for a half lift, extending your spine forward. And then folding as you're breathing out. Allow the head to hang here. And when the next exhalation comes, as always, use your lower abdomen and start rolling up into standing, lifting your shoulders and then rolling them back and down. Now, as promised, the next movements will be more static. And as always, you can step it back and down a little bit if required. As usual, there is a bit of balance happening. Let's see where that takes you. Please use anything that you have close by if required for balancing aid. We'll shift the weight to the left foot. Standing nice and tall, lifting your right knee. That could be it. Or you could hook your hands around your shin and draw the knee up a little bit further. If you can't reach the shin, the back of the thigh is a great one too. Now trying to stand as tall as is possible here. Grounding through the left foot into the floor or the mat. And from here, there's an option of bringing the opposite hand onto the kneecap to extend the right arm out to the side. And then as you're breathing out, try and cross the knee over the body. This will challenge your balance, I'm aware of that. If you don't have enough challenge in your balance, try and turn your gaze towards your extended arm. Now come back to the center. Release your arms and then step your foot down. Let's take a deep breath into a mini standing back bend just to expand the front of the body. You can support that if this is too much with your hands in your lower back. Lifting up through the sternum, maybe the chin is lifted, the head a little bit back. And then come back up into standing. Releasing the arms down. Steadying your gaze again. Mountain pose. As we're shifting the weight onto the right foot. Once the weight is there, lifting your left knee. Again, if you interlaced before, interlace again, just the other way around. And bring the knee a bit closer up to the chest. Keep the shoulders down, keep your spine nice and tall, and hold here. It's okay to dance and bobble. This is the part that actually helps us to strengthen. Now take the opposite hand onto your knee and extend your left arm to the side. Again, this is already perfect as is, but you might want to guide your knee across the body into a very light twist. And if that then feels good, you might turn your gaze to your extended arm. Coming back to the center with your knee, releasing the arms, and stepping the foot back down onto the ground. Give yourself a little bit of movement, maybe walking over your mat, a little bit forward and back, just finding your place. Now, for our next few postures, I will link them, but there will not be a flow. You might want to have the corner of a piece of furniture near you or a block on the floor. Your choice, what you're going with, not important, what that might be. So we're starting with our feet quite wide apart, leading into a triangle pose. So the right toes will be facing to the short end of the mat. The other toes might either face out to the side, or you can tuck them lightly in by encouraging the heel a little bit out and back. So a nice and wide stance, not too wide either. I will ask you now to switch on the right side and help rotate the knee so the knee is shining forward in line with the toes. Your left hip will be slightly turned inwards. Lifting the arms out to the sides and relaxing the shoulders. Let the palms face open into the direction you're currently looking. Then change your gaze point to your right hand thumb. Taking a breath in, feeling the feet on the ground, switching the legs on a little bit more. And then as you're breathing out, reach down with your gaze and with your fingertips. Now placing the back of your hand against the inside of your leg. I'm particularly not saying to the inside of the foot. However, if you get there without rolling the upper body in, you're most welcome to reach there. Your left arm is either pointing up, and you could now choose to change your gaze from down low to high up with a light chin tuck. Or if your shoulder or arm feels sore, you could place the hand into the side of the waist. Let's pause here to breathe. Bringing length into your sides, keeping the strength in the legs. Now we'll all bring our left hand into the side of the waist, and we'll bring a bend into the right knee. So now this posture has shifted into a modified side angle pose. Either you're reaching your right hand fingertips to the block that sits in front there, or you're reaching for your little piece of furniture. Could be a big piece of furniture too. Keeping your shoulder open, lower your gaze down to the mat and start to shift the weight into the right foot. You can hop the left foot in or slide it in and then take it off the ground for a half moon. Now, if you don't want to balance this out in the air, as I said, hold on to something with the right hand. However, if you do find balance, you can release your support and maybe open the arms again. Let's point the toes, land it back, feet out wide, reaching your arms up. Now turn your feet outwards so the outer edges of the feet are aligning. Let's lift the gaze to, if that feels right, expand the front of your body. Then soften the knees. And as you're breathing out, just folding down into a wide-legged forward bend. Your hands may or may not touch the floor. You can adjust the stance of your feet, just noticing that the toes are still facing forward. And from here, can you go deeper, lowering the head down? Relax the head, plant the hands down underneath your shoulders, and then lift the shoulders very gently up into their sockets. The weight is shifting a bit forward within the feet so the tailbone can come higher. And from here, you're using your out breath. Deepen your forward bend. Are your legs straight? Maybe you need to soften the knees a little bit more. Just feel in, what is it that this posture requires you to do to find a steadiness and ease? I will ask you from there to come back to your fingertips as you're breathing in. To bend your knees a bit more. Maybe to reach your arms out and then push into the floor, lifting the arms again on your in-breath and then releasing them on your out-breath. Shoulders relaxing. We're turning the left foot out to the side. You might want to adjust your distance again between the feet. Now the left toes are facing towards the short end of the mat. The right toes either to the long end of the mat or you're pushing the heel a little bit further out, which is my preferred stance. That allows the hip to just roll in slightly, and with that we get more range of movement. Let's lift the arms out to shoulder height, but relax the shoulders down. If you can, have the palms open the way you are currently looking. But then turn your gaze. Activate your left thigh and turn your knee to align with the toes a little bit more. Then take a breath out and tilt into your triangle pose. Same option. If the extended arm is too much, you can place the hand into the side of the waist. Your gaze might be down. The back of the hand is resting against the leg. So working with the length and the openness of the chest. And then if you like, you can turn your gaze upwards. If you do turn the gaze up, have a light chin tuck here. Allowing yourself to open into the pose, to feel the strength coming up from the floor. So think about the strength of your support, feet and legs. We'll now place the right hand into the side of the waist. We will also turn the gaze down towards the floor in front of us and bending our left knee. Now use a support here as well if you think you need it. Place your hand on your support, hop or slide the back foot in, lifting it off the ground as you flex the foot. Keep the top shoulder back. And if you prefer to be with the support, that's fine. Otherwise, you might carefully release it and maybe even extending your arms, your choice. Then point your toes, land it again, lifting up tall. Once again, align your feet, outer edges parallel with the mat. This time, take your hands behind your back and interlace your fingers there. Draw the shoulder blades together as you pull your arms down. Sternum is lifting, maybe so is your gaze. Bending your knees and then slowly folding forward. In the process, can you leave your arms on your back as you lower the head? And if your shoulders are happy with it, you could then lift the arms away from the back. So the forward fold is the same. We're shifting the weight towards the balls of the feet. So the tailbone is high. Major difference here, the arms lifting away from the back They can stretch out into your shoulders. Some of you might be so mobile in your shoulders and upper back that your hands are moving all the way across the head onto the floor. Allowing yourself a couple more breaths here. You completed those. Let's bring the hands down to the mat. Then place your knees down onto the floor. We'll sneak in a little inversion. So bring the hands a little bit closer, tuck the chin in, place the top of the head down onto the ground. As you ground down into the hands, lifting the shoulders, same as we did in the forward folds. And this is perfect as it is. You can stay here, at any time can you sit towards your heels. If you want to take it further, engage the lower abdomen, lifting the knees off the ground, still being strong here in the arms. And if any of you have experience in going deeper, you can lift your knees up to the upper arms and go from there. The only thing that is important right now is that the head is nice and low. So you start with your knees on the ground, the head touching the floor if that's right for you. Shoulders lifted. And just allowing some blood flow into the head. Take only one more breath here before you lower yourself into a child's pose. And this one might have the knees out wide just to bring in some change. You can rest your forehead onto Anjali Mudra or stacked fists, just placing the head a little bit higher. Couple more breaths in this pose. Then roll yourself back up into sitting. Swap around to actual sitting and step your feet out in front of you. Your hands will be behind. I prefer just the fingertips down, so I don't have a tendency to lean back. I will keep this one very simple. So leave your shoulders back and find the space between the sit bones to sit on. Your feet can be grounded, and if you just have your fingertips down, you will have your belly switched on whether you're aware of it or not. And I'd ask you to lift the right foot from here and then softly step it back down. Lifting the left foot and softly step it back down. Lifting the right arm and placing your fingertips back down. Lifting the left arm and stepping the fingertips back down. Mind that you're still sitting between the sit bones, either alternate or lifting both feet. And then stepping back down. Embrace your core, maybe both arms are extending. And then stepping your fingertips back down. This is enough. Now lift the other leg. Otherwise, maybe extending the legs. Maybe extending the arms. Then hug your knees to your nose. And look behind you. Is it safe to just curl down onto your back? If it is, tuck the chin in, roll down onto your back. Keep your knees squeezed in towards the chest for a moment. Just hugging them in. Nothing else here to do. Then as you let go of your knees, keep the knees hovering up over your chest. So place your palms of the hands flat against the thighs. I'm not asking much, but what I'd ask you to do is press into the thighs and the thighs back into the hands and holding a good pressure of tension. Then release that. Take a big breath in. If you can, extend your legs and arms over the head. And then hug the knees back into the chest. Slide your hands to the thighs as we repeat. Pressing the hands into the legs pushing back into the hands and holding the tension. Really strong. Back is engaged, core is engaged. And then take a breath. If you can, stretch out fully. We'll only do that one more time. On the next out breath, bring your knees into the chest. Sliding the hands to the tops of the thighs. And then pushing hands into thighs, thighs back into hands, holding the tension. Hold, hold, hold. Hold. And then release. Another big stretch if you like. Before you allow your arms to open, to step your feet down onto the mat, do so in a very lazy way. So feet might be apart, arms open, just letting the knees now roll a bit from side to side. And if you like, you can join in with the head, whether the head is rolling into the same direction or the opposite. Keep it moving for a little while. Softness in shoulders, elbows, hands, fingers. And the rest is just gently rolling from side to side. And if you like, can you hold then on the right hand side and take a breath here. Then changing across and a breath here. Then bringing your knees back up. And either you keep your feet grounded and touch your knees together for Shavasana, you're letting your legs slide out. But let's return the arms a bit closer to the sides and yet away from the body. Palms might be facing up. And if you're fiddling around to get your jumpers on, your socks on, and your blanket over your body, please finish that before you arrive in your posture. And there is an opportunity from there to return to Apan Mudra, where you were touching the tip of the thumb to that of the middle and the ring finger, leaving index and little fingers softly extended, and still the backs of the hands on the ground. So find yourself in Shavasana with or without Apan Mudra. It's not important if you engage in it, but if it feels good, if you want to nurture the energy of heart, love, compassion, forgiveness, that's your mudra. Allow your body at first to find the stillness. Engage the mind in the stillness of the physical body. As you notice it resting against your mat. With the stillness arriving in the body and the awareness on it, you might shift the awareness from there to your breath, or the beating of your heart center. Maybe it became clearer who is the person you admire most. Why? And how you can live at that level. If there's no person in your life that you admire in this way, you could just look for the qualities that you do. expressing gratitude for whatever it is that you have in your life. There is a task within this card to maybe begin after the class, and to continue for the next 10 days of writing down a list of gratitude. You might have started this list in your mind right now. Let that be for a moment. Return to the stillness of your body on the mat. Grateful for the breath that is flowing and your body that carried you through the practice. Beginning to deepen your breathing, starting to expand and move a little. Before taking your body into a seated pose, hands in Anjali Mudra, thumbs might touch the sternum. Bowing lightly towards your heart center. Its infinite capacity for love, compassion, forgiveness that we need so much in these times currently. Extending our love to each other. Namaste. I will expand a little bit on our cards today before we leave. So the card is gratitude. This is what it looks like. It represents a little bit more, and you can interpret into it yourself. Life in general. What I would love us to be inspired by is 10 days of actually writing down a gratitude list. And without looking at what you wrote the previous day, just write it again the following day. And then cover it up again or leave it somewhere and start a new list on the third day. And continue until you've completed 10 days, if you like, before you look at the whole list of gratitude that you came up with. Only to notice if there are things that repeat themselves. And only to notice as well, are you on that list somewhere? As with the previous challenge, it is not an assignment. I won't check on you. It is an inspiration for you to feel better about yourself and about your own life. That might bring that little spark of joy into this festive season, however challenging it might be for you. When we remind ourselves to be grateful, we're focusing on that we have, We're not looking for an outcome. We're not looking for anything that isn't there yet, but embracing that that is.